Good evening, baseball fans. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Happy Friday. Hope everyone's having a good Friday out there. We had a busy Friday in the world of baseball. We had a wackadoodle trade today. As soon as I saw it, I'm thinking, what the heck just happened? We'll break that one down. My Red Sox are all over the news again. Don't blame me. Blame the Red Sox for being in the news. We have a lot to talk about with the Red Sox tonight. And they're even in on Shota Imanaga. We got some finalists for Imanaga. Where is he going to go? The clock is ticking on Imanaga. The deadline is next week. How you doing, everyone? Good evening, good evening, good evening. Over 200 people to start the show. How you doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Friday evening. I usually don't go live Friday nights, but we had a lot going on today. My goodness. What the heck was that trade today? I remember I saw it, and I had to do like a double take. I'm like, what? Robbie Ray to the Giants? I'm like, what is happening? Mitch Haniger back to his old team. I mean, goodness gracious. That was just blew my mind. Still is just kind of crazy to me. But we'll talk about that. We'll break it down. We'll talk about what it means for both teams. We'll take a look at the trade itself. We'll look at whether or not it was a fair trade for both teams. A couple of underwater contracts there, so definitely got to look into that and the values a little bit there. And listen, everyone, I just said in the intro, don't blame me that the Red Sox are in the news. I know I'm Giraffe Neck Robbie over here, but listen, if a team is in the news, I got to talk about the news. Don't blame me. All right. So we do have some Red Sox news. We got a lot of Red Sox news tonight. I did post this on X, and I'm sure some Red Sox fans from there jumped on in. So hello, how you doing? But yes, talking a lot of Sox tonight, and Shota Imanaga. We're coming down to the wire. Where is he going to go? Could he go to my Red Sox? I have not been the biggest fan of Imanaga. Maybe I'm starting to warm up a little bit. I'll talk about that in a little bit. We talked about Imanaga last night, but we'll talk about that news tonight. And then Dylan Cease as well. Dylan Cease, I'm not going to say, listen, I got a little something. I got a little something on Cease. All I can say is be on the lookout be on the lookout. That's all I'm going to say. And you could be surprised. That's all I'm going to say. But we'll talk about Dylan Cease in just a little bit. But everyone, before I do get started here, if you can, like the show. It really does help out with the algorithm. Hit the bell notification. Share the show if you can. Share it on X if you can. It's always helpful. Share it on Instagram. Share it on Facebook. Share it with grandma down the road. And subscribe if you are new. And speaking of sharing content, everyone, I did just post a video yesterday. And I'm just saying, you might want to go take a look at it. I had a lot of fun making it. And real quick, I will show you before we do get started. It's a new video. I put a video about blockbuster trades I want to see. Unfortunately, one of them, and he's in the thumbnail, is probably not going to happen. Because we also had another trade today that also involved the Mariners. But I don't know. Who knows? Maybe it's probably not going to happen. Whatever. I thought it was fun. I guess not. Excuse me. So go check that out. Yes, I know Randy Rosarena. Maybe that one's not going to happen now. Maybe you can go somewhere else. I don't know. But go check out the other blockbuster trades that I came up with that I would like to see. So here we go, everyone. Let's get to it. We have a lot to talk about tonight. And we're going to get started here with this absolute, again, I will use the word wackadoodle. That is one of my favorite words when it comes to describing something that just made me have to double check, triple check, quadruple check. I'm thinking, like, what is that? So we had a little trade today. Robbie Ray heading to the Giants for Mitch Haniger and Anthony DeSclafani. There's also money in this deal going to the Mariners, and I believe it's also a little bit going back to the Giants as well. But this one was just, what the heck just happened kind of a thing. Like, what in the world was that? When I saw that pop up on my phone, I've been busy on X lately. I've been really focusing on like typing up my thoughts about things. You all know me. I can't stop talking when I'm on here. And the same thing goes for X. When my mind just goes, I just go. And I type like a million words. So that's just me. But when I was in the middle of typing up something, I saw this. I'm like, what is this? And so, funny with the Giants, they've been looking for pitching. Now, Robbie Ray, it's going to be a little bit before he gets back on the mound. You should see him this year, but they have been looking for pitching. They were connected with Yamamoto there. It seems like they were trying in any way possible to get something. And now I wonder, what does this mean for Blake Snell? They were connected with Blake Snell. I thought that was a pretty good fit there. We've heard the Angels as well on the West Coast. We've heard little bits and pieces about the Dodgers at some points, but probably not anymore. But the Giants, I would have to think, I don't know, I guess you still could go for Blake Snell, but I would think, you just added a guy with a big contract, lefty, I don't know, So, could this be, like after losing Carlos Rodon, is this now, this is Carlos Rodon's replacement, basically. So, listen, if Ray is healthy, we always use that phrase, if healthy. I hate saying that, but it's true. We have to say it. If he's healthy, I think it's a really good pickup for the Giants. And listen, if the Giants, if they're not going to be able to lure free agents, this is what they're going to have to do. They're going to have to go make trades. And, and that might even mean taking on an underwater contract with Robbie Ray, right? Obviously, got Tommy John, and he's been out for a while, so that's really hurt his value. So let's go take a look at the trade itself. And then, obviously, back to the Mariners is an old friend in Mitch Haniger, along with some depth pitching in Anthony DeSclafani. So here is the trade itself. And then also the Giants are sending $3 million. And then it also said that the Mariners are sending back $3 $6 million as well. So there's money here. But as to the players themselves, if you're just looking at the return for both sides, and actually, hold on, let me fix something real quick here. One second here. I want to get rid of that picture. All right, that's going to be a little better. Here we go. All right, back to the regular programming. So, looking just at the values for both sides, you are pretty much seeing an overpay from the Giants. They're in the negatives for both sides. You're basically swapping bad contracts at this point, but it works out for both sides because the Mariners were looking for a bat. They were looking for another bat, a right-handed bat especially, to go into that order. Now, Mitch Haniger, he was hurt last year, had a down year last year. That just didn't work out. And then Anthony DeSclafani is basically just going to be replacing the depth. Robbie Ray, you were going to be without Robbie Ray in the beginning of the year anyway. So it's like he was never even there. It honestly just feels like Robbie Ray was never even with Seattle. That's how it feels. Right? But DeSclafani, he's going to take over there for his spot on the roster and for the pitching depth. Haniger here, if he did well with the Mariners, right? Let's see if they can get him back to his old ways. We definitely saw, good power with Mitch Haniger. We saw a pretty good bat with the Mariners, and I think they need him, or they need someone like him more than Robbie Ray right now. I think that's good for them to take a chance on someone that they're familiar with than, Robbie Ray just sitting on the sidelines. So you might as well, if this trade presented itself, why not go for it? And then also from the Mariners' point of view, they've also been clearing payroll. Now, they did take back, a big salary with Mitch Haniger as well, but they're getting out of the Robbie Ray contract, where I believe there was still 3 more years left on that deal, if I remember correctly. So, yeah, there were 3 more years left on that deal, whereas for the Mariners, I believe there's only 2 years left. So, they're helping themselves out down the road, and they're paying Haniger a bit less, $20 million this year, $15.5 and $25. Whereas with Robbie Ray, you're going to be paying him $23 this year if you kept him, and then $25 next year. And you were basically paying Robbie Ray, if he came back at the All-Star break, you're going to be paying for basically half a salary, and he's just rehabbing, right? So I like it for the Mariners, honestly, and for the Mariners who, listen, they needed offense. They needed bats, and they already have plenty of pitching. It's funny because this entire offseason, we came into this offseason thinking, wow, the Mariners, they got so much pitching. They got Castillo, Kirby, Gilbert, Miller, Wu. Everyone's thinking, which one of these guys is going to get moved, right? Not really. Well, actually, lately we had been hearing some little murmurs about Luis Castillo. His name had been coming up a little bit. Kirby, I feel like pretty much everyone agreed that Kirby wasn't going anywhere because this guy's just lights out. But then that left open the possibility, could someone like Logan Gilbert maybe get moved? Or one of these young guys like Bryce Miller or Brian Wu. Everyone's thinking, which one of these guys could get moved? And funny enough, the guy that ends up getting moved is the one that wasn't even on your team, basically, which is hilarious to me. I think it's a good move for the Mariners, honestly. Yeah, you're taking on an underwater contract in return with Mitch Haniger, but I think it's a contract worth taking. I think they can get him back on track because at least, obviously, there's the familiarity aspect with it, too. So, and then they get DeSclafani, who's basically going to be your swingman in that bullpen. I like it. You might as well take a chance on this. Could you have maybe gone after another bat out there? If you were to go after a Rosarena, which was one blockbuster deal that I did want to see, you would have had to give up some pretty decent players in return, right? I had a package going back where maybe you could do Brian Wu, or you could do like Bryce Miller, sending one of those guys to the Rays in exchange for a Rosarena. So that would have been a fun trade to see. But to me, the fact that you're only giving up a guy, which I don't want to say only just a guy, right? This is Cy Young winner. Robbie Ray had been pitching really well. To me, he's basically non-existent on your team at this point, and anything you got out of him this year is going to be a plus. So why not just use that, get out of the contract, 3 years of that, so that helps. And then Haniger, yeah, you're going to have to pay this guy some money, but you're going to pay the money anyway, right? So you might as well pay the money to the guy who's at least going to be on the field for you. All right, so I see it as a positive for the Mariners in the end. But then for the Giants, right? If you look at the Giants' point of view, like I said, you're not going to have Robbie Ray for a little bit, but this is a guy, if he gets himself right and he's healthy and he's good to go, that's not bad. Comes back maybe a little after the All-Star break, and then you got Robbie Ray, you got Logan Webb. That's a pretty good 1-2 punch, if you ask me. And then you give some of these other guys like Kyle Harrison, Wynn, Beck, you give them some time. I like it for the Giants, right? I think right now I like it a little bit more for the Mariners, but I do like it for the Giants too. Just later on, right? Let's see how that goes, and let's see how he is when he comes back. But for the Mariners, you know what? And we're going to get to another trade that they made here in a little bit, but I just think now there's more extension in the lineup. I talk about lineups like that. I use that word a lot. Extension. Right? You don't necessarily have to have the superstars in the lineup necessarily, but if you have guys that can give you some good at-bats, stretch out that lineup, then it could be a pretty tough lineup, and I think there's definitely room for improvement here. When you look at the Mariners' lineup last year, they lacked a bat. So let's see how it goes. And just looking at Haniger's stats from a couple of years ago, right? And remember, he did miss time in 22, so take that into consideration as well. This guy has just not been healthy in the last couple of years. And I think we all need to remember here, it's not just about, all right, yeah, you come back and, you're good to go, right? Everything's fine. No, especially with hitters, man, when they don't have a regular off season, we don't have your spring training, things are out of whack, man. You got to get your mechanics going. You got to get the timing going. There's a lot that goes into it. And so I think with Haniger, a normal offseason, a normal spring, I think that could spell better for him. And if he can get back to those numbers in 2021, that's really good, right? Hit 253, had a 485 slugging, 39 homers, 100 RBIs. They're not projecting him for amazing numbers next year. They're only projecting him for 94 games, though. So let's say let's go back to 21. How many games did he play? He played 157 in 21. So let's say he gets back to, 140. Let's say 140, right? So let's do the Fangraph WAR projection for next year is 0.6. Divide that by 94 games and now multiply that by 140. I think I did the math wrong. Nope, I did that right. So yeah, he could, with these numbers that they're projecting, if it ends up getting to 140, you're looking at like a 1 Fangraph WAR, right? But go back a couple of years ago, he was a 2.5. But you got to remember with the defense, right? It's not the best. So again, it's really about the bat with him. And then, honestly, I think with Haniger, it would have been great if he could have been the DH. If you just took him out of the field, that could have been just a good DH spot or a good spot for him being the DH, right? But you brought Garver in, so you are going to have to rely on Haniger to go out and play in the field, and especially right field. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I could see Mariners fans being a little split on this, but then again, maybe I could see Mariners fans being pretty happy about it. I haven't really fully looked at the reactions among Mariners fans. It's been a busy day, just saying. But overall, I think there's positives for both sides. We'll have to wait and see. But the other trade that the Mariners made today, trading Jose Caballero to the Rays, and in return, they got Luke Raley. Luke Raley was a guy who put up some decent numbers last year. But let's go look at the trade first. So the Mariners, they're getting around $10 million in median value in Luke Raley. And then back to the Rays, they're getting Jose Caballero, who median value is around 5. So a bit of an overpay there from the Rays' point of view. But I think with the Rays, I think they saw something with Luke Raley that, sure, this value might look decent, but the Rays probably don't value him very highly. And when I take a look at Luke Raley's numbers, yeah, these numbers pop off. All right, when you look at these right here, he hit 249, 333 on base, a 490 slugging, 130 WRC plus, 19 homers, 2.6 F-WAR. Those are great numbers, right? So you're looking like, wow, man, they got a guy here, man. What a good move. But when you go look at the advanced numbers on StatCast, yeah, you are seeing some exit velocity, the barrels, right? When this guy gets into one, oh yeah, this guy can hammer him. But if you take a look, he chases a good amount, a lot of whiffs, a lot of strikeouts, not a whole lot of walks. So I think the Rays, they saw some regression with Luke Raley coming up. And one other thing to point out with Luke Raley, so you're probably thinking, well, if he had all those blues, how the heck did he put up all these numbers here? Well, one thing to point out is that his BABIP was pretty high last year. It was a 330 batting average on balls in play, definitely higher than league average. So they're when you combine the amount of walks and the swing and misses, the chase, you're probably going to see that come down a bit. Let's say, hey, maybe the Mariners can tweak something with him and they can end up getting a good amount out of him still. If he can put these numbers up again with the Mariners, oh, yeah, that's a really good pickup for them. But I think with the Rays, I think they just saw regression there, so they got out of it. And then going back to the Rays is Jose Caballero. So you might be thinking, I don't know. Caballero hit 221, had a pretty good on base, 343, but only a 320 slugging, 96 WRC plus. But he put up a 2.2 F-WAR because of really good defense. He's a very good defender out there. He can move around. He can play other positions, middle infield. He can go play the corner, even played a game at left. Listen, and it's funny that this trade happened when we heard all this stuff about Wander Franco today. I'm not getting into the Wander Franco stuff. If you want to go read about it yourself, go for it. I'm not doing it. I'm tired of talking about Wander Franco. It's disgusting. Absolutely not. I'm not doing it. Go read it for yourself if you want to read it. However, when I look at someone like Jose Caballero, I think the Rays value him more than Luke Raley because Caballero is going to be a steady defender. He can play multiple positions. He's got good speed as well. The Rays like their athletes, right? But you are probably never going to see Wander Franco in Major League Baseball again. I like, things, yes, you have to let things play out. You have to have everyone has to have their trial, have their day in court at the end of the day. Even with all that, I don't know if Wander Franco he ever plays Major League Baseball again. So, even if he gets cleared of everything, I don't know, man. I just think Major League Baseball would be like, oh, man. Like, this guy got into some stuff, and we can't have this. I just think Wander Franco's done, it's horrible what he did, but when you just look at, from his point of view, just what a sad turn of events for this guy. I don't mean sad for him, just sad from his own part. It's like, you had everything, dude. You had, my God, like, you had like a massive contract. You're going to be the star of the franchise. People were looking at you as the next face of baseball at one point. Anytime you heard the name Wander Franco, you thought, man, this guy's going to be the future, right? And he looked like it too, right? And I remember watching him in the postseason of 2021. I'm thinking, this dude is like 21 years old, and he's just taken to the postseason like it's nothing. Again, sad. And again, not sad for him. Sad that he just ruined his life. But back to the baseball side of things. Jose Caballero, they're getting a guy that you can rely on out there in the field, and obviously now you're not going to have Wander Franco. So basically, he shores up the defense out there. He's someone that you can count on out there. So overall, a pretty productive day for the Mariners. The Rays getting a deal done, the Giants getting a guy in Robbie Ray, former Cy Young winner. Let's see. I think it could end up being good for all sides involved. Let's talk about my Red Sox. We got almost 500 people in the chat. Everyone, if you can, hit the like button for me. And if you are new, think about subscribing. If you can, share the show as well. But let's get to it here. We got a lot to talk about with the Red Sox. And like I said at the beginning of the show, don't blame me. It's not my fault. The Red Sox are in the news. I got to talk about the Red Sox. So let's kind of just recap what's going on with the Red Sox right now. Let's see. So a lot of Red Sox fans are itching, praying, hoping for something. However, they have had a pretty productive offseason so far. I don't mean productive as in, adding, star players, but they have been making moves and they have been getting some payroll cleared off. They've added a piece in Lucas Giolito. You added a piece in Vaughn Grissom, clearing off some salary with Chris Sale. You have been making some little moves, right? Bringing in Tyler O'Neill. Let's see if they can get him going. Trading away Alex Verdugo, bringing in pitching depth, getting someone like Richard Fitz who could end up being really good for your bullpen at some point. Honestly, is there the flashy signing here? Is there the big trade here? Yeah, a couple of trades in O'Neill and Verdugo. But we haven't seen the big move yet. However, it's been a productive offseason when you just look at what they've done, what Craig Breslow has done to maneuver, right? Now, let's talk about the Red Sox main priorities. What are the main priorities here for the Red Sox, right? The big priority, right, is starting pitching, right? And I personally think starting pitcher number one, all right? We'll get to Imanaga in a little bit. They could also maybe use, a 3, 4, or 5 in the rotation as well. All right. Definitely think you need to add pitching, of course. I think everyone can agree on that. Their pitching was terrible last year in the rotation. They need a right-handed bat. They need to add something for this middle of the order, right? Whether that's someone that goes in the outfield, right? People think, Tyler O'Neill. Well, no, Tyler O'Neill at this point, probably going to be near that bottom part of the order. And if O'Neill gets himself going, that could be great, right? Bottom of the order too. But I feel like they could use something in the middle of this order, right? You had Justin Turner, mostly DHing last year, a really solid bat overall. He's gone. Could he come back? Sure. My ginger brother and I will always love Justin Turner. If he came back, sure, I would love that. However, getting a little up there in age, so maybe, they could turn to some other right-handed bats that are on the market, and you could go for an outfielder, right? Wilyer Abreu, I did like what Wilyer Abreu did last year, but again, he really still getting his feet wet there. Still definitely needs more time. He's a lefty bat. I would see Wilyer Abreu as more of a lefty bat off the bench at this point. I would like to see what Wilyer Abreu could do. Right now, though, I personally think a right-handed bat and then have Abreu come in. He can go up against some righties some days, right? So I could see a right-handed bat for either right field or just an outfielder that can move around in general. Duran, who knows with his defense? I don't know. Duran could definitely be a trade target at some point. Or maybe you could bring in some other pieces, right? Michael Taylor has come up. First off, Teoscar Hernandez. We'll get to him in just a second. But Teoscar Hernandez has come up. Michael Taylor's name has also come up. Adam Duvall, he has expressed interest in coming back. Could you bring him back? I feel like, though, what the Red Sox need is they need a right-handed bat that can go in the middle over here, someone that, maybe bats cleanup, right? Maybe even put him in the 3-hole, right? Because you got a lot of lefties at the top here, and you want to break up those lefties. So that's what I think the Red Sox mostly need. But the big thing that every Red Sox fan has been going crazy over is the payroll. That has been the big story for the Red Sox this offseason. The Red Sox reportedly last year, they wanted to keep the payroll to 225. You had Chris Cotillo saying that they wanted to, the Red Sox wanted to keep it to 225, and he called it a significant amount, which it was the 233 CBT. I personally think that that's just a bit of a media tactic right there to just kind of get people going. Because when you use words like, oh, significant, it's going to get people's attention, right? However, 225 under 233, it's not really significant, right? That's around 96.5%, 97% of the payroll, right? You always want to have a buffer there if you are going to keep it under the CBT. And listen, the Red Sox are in no position right now to go over the CBT. You can say anything you want. They are not a team that's we're in it to win it right now. You're not the Dodgers right now. You're not one of these, powerhouse teams, right? Like the Astros, who are constantly making it to the ALCS. You are not in that position right now. You need to go prove it first, right? Could they maybe be in contention? Of course they could, right? But they're not in that position yet, and right? So ownership is not going to give them the green light to go crazy, right? Yeah, say what, sure, the Yankees, yes, I understand there's a difference there. But listen, if ownership wants it, I don't know what to say. It's not my money at the end of the day. I get it. Ticket prices going up at Fenway. I understand people's frustrations. I do. But I'm one of those where it's like, you know what? Instead of just sitting here and complaining about it, something just dropped. I don't know what the heck that was. Instead of just sitting here and complaining about it, I'm just going to look at, okay, what could I do, right? So those are the things that the Red Sox need to do. But if I'm looking at the payroll right now, I actually like Red Sox Payroll on Twitter. If you go to his account, he actually has here pinned at the top, he has a more accurate version of the payroll, looking at around 201 right now, right? Whereas Fangraphs is saying 177, but he's including things like medical and stuff like that. So the Red Sox, my guess is that they want to stay maybe under like that 225, 230 area. Let's just say 230, right? Bumps up since the CBT went up this year. Let's bump up that budget, right? Let's just say 230. So if you're looking at that, there's not a whole lot of room to play with when it comes to adding multiple players to give you a complete roster, right? So if you wanted to go out there and add a pitcher, add a right-handed bat, yeah, we can complain about not going over the CBT, but it is what it is at the end of the day, and you're not going to get good quality players on the market and also stay under that, let's say, 230, right? Not a whole lot of room. Now, you could clear some payroll, right? You got Kenley Jansen. You got even Trevor Story has come up a little bit. Maybe even like someone like Nick Pivetta, right? That sounds ridiculous because he's a pitcher, but he is going to be getting $7 million. Chris Martin, that's a name that's popped up too, all right? Maybe you could clear some of these guys. However, the big bit of news today when it came to the payroll, I was like, what? When I saw this one, was Ken Rosenthal putting out an article here that Masataka Yoshida could maybe possibly be a trade candidate. Now, before we get all crazy here, let's actually go. Of course, I got to log in. Oh, The Athletic. I just logged in earlier, and okay, there we go. All right, so here we go. So in this article, we will go down here, and let me use the search tool. Okay, so now, the Red Sox are not actively shopping him, according to Ken Rosenthal. However, several teams have inquired about Yoshida, and while the Red Sox do not appear to be actively shopping him, they are open to virtually any idea as they seek to build a better roster. Now, Craig Breslow, going into the offseason, he did say that, he wants Yoshida to go work on things, yada, yada, right? Wants to go work on the defense. I expect Yoshida to have a pretty good year with the bat. I do, right? You had a lot of transition last year with him, coming from a new country, playing in the World Baseball Classic, getting accustomed to everything. It's never easy coming over from another country. I don't know from experience, but I would imagine that it's not the easiest thing. So I think Yoshida has a good year at the plate. However, when it comes to the defense with Masataka Yoshida, it's sorry. And I'm not trying to be harsh. I'm really not. I'm really not trying to be harsh, but Yoshida's defense was just not good last year. He was one of the worst defenders, especially when it came to left field, right? He was just not a good defender out there, right? As of right now, Yoshida is probably looking more at DH duties, right? And I think that's great. There's a good bat there, right? And he is projected for even better numbers next year. I could see Yoshida having a really good year. But probably pretty limited when it comes to the outfield. My guess is Yoshida, you're probably going to see, 60 to 70% DH, and then he can go play some left field here and there. However, I don't think it's completely crazy. I know it sounds crazy because you just brought this guy in, but at this point right now, I am open to pretty much any way possible, and I'm not just going off the article. Myself, as a Red Sox fan, you got a new regime in. You don't got Bloom anymore. You don't got the Bloom gang. Now you got the Craig gang, right? There's a new regime. He didn't sign Yoshida. At this point, I'm open to anything, all right? Whatever can help create a better team, I'm all for. Listen, I love Yoshida, and I'm going to be honest here. Listen, when I was younger, I loved certain players, right? Obviously, everyone loved Pedro. I loved Trot Nixon. Loved Bill Miller. Loved all these guys. And I thought, man, when they didn't bring back Pedro, I'm like, what are you doing? Why don't you bring back Pedro? It's Pedro Martinez. How do you not bring him back? He's a Red Sox legend. 25 years later, I'm becoming an old grumpy man basically now. I don't look at it that way anymore. I just don't. I just want, yes, I understand. There's people here. I do get that. However, I'm also looking at it from a point of view where I want the Red Sox to win, right? And I'm not saying Yoshida is going to be a bad player. I'm not. I think he's going to be a really good bat next year. However, if it can help clear some payroll, I don't think it's something you completely write off, right? Because with Yoshida, while, yes, there are some pretty good projections for him next year. Let's actually take a look at these projections for next year. So going into his age 30 season, man, I love Yoshida, man. I really do. I think he's a really fun player. I was very excited when they got him. All right, looking at the numbers from last year, hit 289, 338 on base, 445 slugging, 109 WRC plus. They're projecting everything to come up for him next year. They're projecting a little bit better defense, Steamer not so much. But Fangraphs, they're giving him a little bit on the defensive side. So, and obviously you got the nooks and crannies at Fenway. I don't know. First off, I couldn't even ever sniff playing any sort of professional baseball. I was done at high school, but I couldn't imagine playing with that green monster. It's probably, what the heck is this? And he was never really a highly regarded defender in Japan anyway. So, however, the bat, they're really projecting a lot more for the bat. A couple more home runs. That looks right around the same, but they're looking at a better WRC plus. You're getting good numbers from Yoshida for next year. However, when I'm looking at the Red Sox lineup, right, I'm looking at this lineup, and earlier I mentioned a right-handed bat. I think there is an argument that you could have someone different for DH. I'm probably going to make people mad about that. And listen, hey, I'm not trying to make anyone mad, but I think there could be an argument to go for a right-handed hitter for DH, someone that could bat third, right? Yoshida at this point, he's more of like a 5 in that lineup or like a 6. That's kind of the way I see it. If I'm looking at a bat-only guy, I want to try and get as much production with the bat as possible. Not saying I need David Ortiz, but I want to try and get as much production as I can. Is Yoshida, even with the good numbers projected for next year, is that going to be better than someone like Jorge Soler? Jorge Soler hit a lot of bombs, right? And I could see Jorge Soler, where if you look at the projections for him for next year, they are pretty solid. They're actually right around the same when it comes to Yoshida. Let's actually pull up these numbers. Fangraphs, my goodness. We are live. We are trying to do a show. Load. I got to get a new computer soon, everyone. I got to get a new computer. This computer is killing me. But with Soler, he's also projected for, actually, he had one less point with the WRC+. And funny enough, with Yoshida, I believe Yoshida was actually projected for some better slugging. Did I see that correctly? No. Okay, so Jorge Soler is projected for the better slugging percentage. 479. Yoshida looks like he's going to get the better on base and the better batting average, right? With Soler, though, you're going to get power, right? So I wonder if that would be a better fit. I'm not saying Soler is the better player. I'm just thinking, would it be a better fit, right? I think Yoshida, if they did indeed trade him, which sounds crazy, but if they did, and you put him onto a team that really lacks offense, right? That, he could be really good for them. But I just think for the Red Sox right now, and again, I'm okay with keeping Yoshida. I would love for him to stick around. I think he's great. I think he's, I don't know. To me, I think he's a fan favorite. I really like Yoshida a lot. And also, I think trading away a player that you just got from Japan, what would that say to the other Japanese players, right, that are coming over down the road? So you got to think of it from that point of view, too. I think there is an argument. Not saying it should happen, but I think you should listen at least. Because you also have to think, too, from a payroll point of view, Yoshida is on the books for the next 4 years. If you were able to maybe go get Soler on a 2-year deal at maybe, say, 16 per year, that's a little cheaper and it's less of a deal. There are arguments for it. That's all I'm pointing out. Do I think it happens? I would be pretty shocked if it did, because it's, to me, I don't know. It just feels like it's something a little too wackadoodle to me. I mean, we did just see Robbie Ray get moved. Who saw that coming? No one saw that coming. What I think this is, when I look at the article with Ken Rosenthal, I think, honestly, where is the article? I think it's more just kicking the tires at this point. But I can understand, because, hey, that's $18 million per year, and the Red Sox are trying to clear some payroll. Could it be like, maybe the Red Sox are on the phone with the team and someone says, what do you think about Yoshida? And it's very well possible that Breslow, says, no, we're going to hang on to Yoshida. I could see that, right? So, again, I think all I'm trying to say for Red Sox fans, I know there are some of you in the chat and some of you who probably just find me downright annoying on X. That's understandable. I know I can tweet a lot and I can definitely get on some people's nerves. I definitely can see that. But I just want everyone to keep an open mind is all I'm trying to say. I don't think it's necessarily crazy to just think about it, right? And see, okay, well, could this lead to something else? Could that, if we did that instead, could that lead to something else that could end up helping us, right? Again, keep an open mind. That's all I'm trying to say. I'm at a point now where I'm not emotionally attached to players. I love players, right? Yeah, I was sad when Mookie got traded. Yeah, that was tough. But that's where at that point, that's where I kind of started to shift a little bit, where I was like, you know what? There comes a time where, maybe certain moves have to be made, and it's part of the game. It's part of the business, right? I think you can make an argument that you probably should have kept Mookie Betts. That's just me, though. But Anyway, it wasn't just Yoshida in the news today. Wasn't just Yoshida. We actually had a lot here. So on the Boston Globe, Alex Spire here, he mentions Teoscar Hernandez as well as some updates on the pitching. So if we go to Teoscar here, it says here, the Red Sox remain interested in adding a right-handed power bat. Multiple sources identified Teoscar Hernandez as a top target, but the Sox haven't been willing to stretch beyond a 2-year offer, while the 31-year-old Hernandez is believed to be seeking a deal of at least 3 years. This kind of feels like one of those things where I feel like they're eventually going to reach a conclusion. And what I think this is, right, I think, and actually Ken Rosenthal even talked about it, right? So let me actually pull that up here. Where is it? Teoscar Hernandez. I thought he had mentioned it in this article. But basically, I don't remember if it's in this article or not. Oh, you know what? Let me search Hernandez. Maybe that comes up. I want to find the exact quote. I believe... Oh, here we go. So Hernandez, who would address the Red Sox need for power, remains a point of focus. But according to one person with knowledge of the talks, the Red Sox prefer to tackle other areas of the roster and reduce payroll before committing to the free agent. And if you actually go back a little bit ago, there was a report that the Red Sox told a free agent that they wanted to clear payroll to be able to sign him. I'm wondering if that's actually, could it be Hernandez? If it is Hernandez, that could make some sense, right? And, you know, hey, media is going to media. They're going to put things out there sometimes without putting the full context, the full story. Why? Because the media, all those Red Sox reporters out there, they love to put stuff out there. Remember, yes, they are trying to give you the news, but they also want your clicks. That's a fact, and they can argue that with me all they want. But it is a fact. They want you to click on their stuff. They want you to see their tweets. It's a fact. So that's just what the media does, right? So I could see where actually, if it was Teoscar Hernandez, this actually makes a little bit more sense, right? That if instead of they said to Teoscar, hey, we want to clear payroll, we can't sign you until we clear payroll. Everyone was blowing that out of proportion. I saw Red Sox fans saying, oh my goodness, this is embarrassing, right? No, what I thought at first was, no, it's not trying to clear payroll because you don't have enough money. You're trying to clear payroll so you can do other things with your team. Well, yes, say what you will about ownership, but they want to keep you at a certain point. So, yeah, you got to work within the parameters that they give you. All right? I'm just saying. So, that's what I think really it was. Breslow is just trying to give himself enough wiggle room, enough payroll space to be able to make a complete team. It's not just that you didn't have enough money to sign Teoscar. Everyone was blowing that out of proportion. I'm like, can we please just think? Can we please just sit down, eat a sandwich, and just process it? Anyway, or could it be someone like Blake Snell? All right, or could it be Montgomery? Who knows who it actually was, but it seems like I'm connecting dots here, and maybe Teoscar was the one that they said they needed to clear payroll room for. Also in this article, there was a little something on Snell. Where is it? Of course. Oh, here we go. So, also according to Spire, the Red Sox are at least engaged on Jordan Montgomery and Blake Snell, according to multiple major league sources. But those sources remain skeptical that the team ends up with either. Am I saying it wrong, Albert? Is it Spear or is it Spire? I've never actually heard the name said out loud. If it's Spear, I apologize. I've never actually heard the name said. I see the EI and I think, okay, is it Spire, Spear? Anyway, this has been also Jared Carabas has talked about this on the Name Redacted podcast, where he gets the feeling that the Red Sox don't really want to go very long on deals. I will say this. Because there has been some inklings out there that maybe Blake Snell would be open to a shorter deal. I could see if he was open to a shorter deal, say like a 3-year, opt out after 2. I think that's what the Trevor Bauer deal was. Wasn't there an opt out after the second year? Let's say he structured it like that. Again, that would be a high AAV. That would be a high AAV. So that's something, even with that, I don't know if the Red Sox could do it. If they want to stick to the rules, right? And I'll also pull up here when it comes to baseball trade values. I have talked about this before, but just in case anyone is new and you haven't seen it, baseball trade values, they have the player timelines. And what that is you can look up future values, right? You can look up future trade values, future extension values, as well as future free agent values, right? So if we go to Snell here, and they've been very accurate this offseason, and Blake Snell, with the contract that they're projecting, my goodness, can we please? My computer is absolutely killing me. Here we go. So for let's say they did 3 years. You're looking at around 30 per year, right? Let's say he got a 6-year deal. You're looking at around 26. I've been seeing so much this offseason that people are thinking Blake Snell is going to get like $200 million. I don't see Blake Snell getting $200 million. I really don't. Even if you gave him an 8-year deal, you're still looking at, projection-wise, 190. I don't see Snell getting $200 million. I've seen Sean McAdam talk about that, saying like, yeah, I see him getting 200. I listened to him earlier, and he was like, yeah, I don't know if the Red Sox do that. I can't remember what he said exactly, paraphrasing, but I've seen other people out there, other reporters say $200 million. I don't see it. Yeah, I think that's what they're gunning for, of course, right? Shoot for the moon. I don't see, I think he ends up getting like a 26, 27 AAV, 6/160. Maybe you could do like 7/180. That's possible. Or maybe he's okay with a shorter deal, right? Does like a 3-year 95, something like that, where, you could opt out at some point. But yeah, would the Red Sox give him, if he did a shorter deal, a high AAV like that? I don't know. I don't think they do. However, I will say this. I'm a glass half full kind of a guy. I am. At the end of the day, I'm always trying to look at the bright side of things. I'm always trying to look for ways to be able to get things done. I would think that if the Red Sox could get Snell at the right price, if it was like a 5-year deal, right? Maybe he does like a 5-year deal, right? I could see the Red Sox, if it was the right price, maybe doing it. I don't know. It's definitely iffy. I will say someone was playing Fortnite the other day at Fenway Park, and Blake Snell commented on the post on Talkin' Baseball. If you go to the Talkin' Baseball Instagram, Blake Snell, he actually commented saying, hey, standing on business. Was Blake Snell playing Fortnite at Fenway Park? I'm just saying. Someone caught it. I don't know. Jordan Montgomery, in my opinion, talking about him, I honestly feel like he goes back to the Rangers. I just feel like now that they got money, right? It's been reported that they're going to be getting a big chunk of money for the TV money. They've been trying to figure something out there, but it looks like they're going to get a lump sum of $90 million. So I think that could really help the Rangers bring Montgomery back. They need him, right? The Red Sox, listen, yeah, the Red Sox could use someone like Montgomery too. However, the Rangers right now, obviously he was just there and he just won a World Series. It makes so much more sense for Montgomery to go back to the Rangers, right? And honestly, I think with Craig Breslow, he prefers velocity. He prefers stuff. Blake Snell is if you're looking at it from a stuff velocity point of view, Blake Snell is going to be that guy. He just is. Yes, you can argue, he hasn't been consistent. He walks a lot of guys. He's had, some injuries with the adductor in last couple of years. So, but at the end of the day, Breslow, that's what he prefers, right? So I could see Snell being that guy. We'll have to wait and see here. But basically, the Red Sox, they got a lot of different ways they could do things. Could they actually do the unthinkable and trade Yoshida, bring in like a right-handed bat like Jorge Soler to put in the middle of the order. You know, and another thing, too, I'm leaving out is we haven't talked about this in the last couple of days. I mean, you could still go out there and maybe trade for a guy, and that is where Dylan Cease came up today, right? Or was this last night? Can't remember. Was this last night? I think this was this morning. But Ken Rosenthal, he posted an article today, what I'm hearing about the market for Dylan Cease. So he basically says here that while the exact list of suitors is not known, the Dodgers, Cardinals, and Red Sox are among the teams possibly in the mix, and the Yankees and the Orioles are among those to express sincere interest. I'm going to tell you this right now, everyone. There's another team that's not listed here. I'm not going to say anything. I can't. I'm sorry. But I got a little birdie. There's another team that's not here. Right? Don't be surprised if you see something weird happen at some point. Something a little shocking, maybe. So that's all I'll say on that. But Yankees, Orioles, Dodgers, Cardinals, Red Sox, that's what he is listing. And obviously, you know, the Dodgers, I don't know about the Dodgers. The Orioles make a ton of sense. The Orioles make all the sense in the world. All the sense in the world. They have so many prospects they could send. I think the Orioles are just such a great fit. The Dodgers, I feel like they could go get him. You definitely could. But I don't know. Is that really someone at this point that you feel like you need to go really get? I feel like if anything, go get a closer, right? There was a lot on the Red Sox. I don't know, man. I just think with the Red Sox, I don't think they were asking for a lot from the Braves. And I wonder with the Braves, you know, when it comes to the package that they had offered, the White Sox are looking for a lot. And I don't know if the Red Sox offer that. I don't know, man. You know, the Braves, they were offering Shawver. They were offering Elder, right? They were offering Grissom, right? And another prospect, I believe. And then they pivoted, right? The White Sox, they were holding on way too long, right? They were trying to hold out, right? And I will say, again, don't be shocked if you see something weird at some point. Don't be shocked. So, but the Red Sox, I don't know if the Red Sox will offer up a package like that. They could. On paper, they could, right? If they offered like Tanner Houck, Miguel Blaise, Nick York, a couple other pieces, they could get a deal done. However, that's paper, though. On paper doesn't necessarily mean real life, all right? And the White Sox, maybe they don't want that. So I feel like the Red Sox, they're a little, and that's without giving up the big three, all right? If the Red Sox were not going to give up the big three, if they did include maybe someone like Marcelo Meyer, right, or Roman Anthony or Kyle Teal, there I could see something. But I don't think the Red Sox would do it for 2 years of Cease. Nah. The only way I'm giving up a big three prospect is if I get 4 years of Logan Gilbert. That's the only way I'm doing it. I don't even want to give up one of those guys for Jesus Luzardo. I don't. Like for 4 years of Gilbert, yeah, I'm probably going to give up someone, right? But nah, man. I'm not doing it. I'm not giving up one of those guys for 2 years of Dylan Cease. So that's just me. I don't think the Red Sox get anything done there, but we'll have to wait and see on the Cease market. We could see something at some point. But there is one more name. Did I leave anything out? I just want to make sure. I did want to, obviously, I'm not trying to be Draftnik Robbie over here. I'm just trying to make sure I cover everything with the Red Sox. I think I did. I think I covered as much as I could. So, but one more name that is popping up on the Red Sox list. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to make this a Red Sox show. This is a baseball show. I'm not trying to make it all about the Sox, but it's not my fault they're in the news. Don't hate me. Hate the Red Sox. But there is one more name out there. There is one more name. And our buddy Jim Bowden. Our buddy Jim Bowden. Good buddy. He's talking about some finalists. Listen, if Jim Bowden's putting something out there, I don't know, man. I think you got to think it could be wrong. I'm sorry, Jim. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to do that. But I'm just going off of track record, Jim. Jim, you know I love you. You know I love you. Please, Jim, put some more trades. I need to react to the trades. Please. Has anyone noticed that with Jim Bowden? I'm going to say this. Ever since Jim Bowden, or ever since I started doing the videos reacting to Jim Bowden and his trades, has anyone noticed that he doesn't really do them anymore? He does them sometimes, but does anyone notice he doesn't really do them as much anymore? Jim Bowden blocked me at one point, and I never even talked with Jim Bowden. Like, I never even commented on his stuff. I never quoted anything. I might have maybe at one point quoted something, but nothing bad. So that told me Bowden blocked me because he saw my YouTube videos. And then I did one video reacting to all the Juan Soto trades from The Athletic. I wrecked those trades. They were so bad. They were some of the worst trades I had ever seen in my life. All right. And I don't know. Maybe he caught wind of that because that video did get a good amount of views. I'm guessing someone from The Athletic probably saw it. I don't know. I'm just saying. Anyway, back to the news. But he's listing here the Red Sox, the Cubs, the Angels, and the Giants. Listen, I've been hating this idea for the Red Sox. I feel like maybe some people are starting to get me to get a little warmer on it. I could be getting there. As like a 3 or 4, all right? A 4. Fine. A 4, I'm fine with. I'm okay with that. But dude, sorry. I need a 1. I don't know, man. I will say the fly balls. Funny enough, Fenway Park is a hitter-friendly park, but someone actually pointed this out to me, and it's like anytime I think Fenway, I think, the monster. You got to remember with Fenway, you don't necessarily get a ton of home runs at Fenway Park. You think with the monster, yeah, you probably do. No, you actually no. Because it's got the weird nooks and crannies, right? When you go out to right field, right, not the pole, but it's not as easy to go hit a home run. And then a lot of those balls that would be out at other parks end up hitting the wall, and then guys settle for a double. So Imanaga, fly ball rate, does that necessarily mean it would translate, to a lot of home runs at Fenway? Not necessarily when I started thinking about it. However, the velocity just scares me. But he has the shape to the pitch, right? When you think of the shape coming from the left side with that amount of velocity at a similar height, you think of Nestor Cortez. Nestor Cortez did do very well a couple of years ago. Yeah, I see you in the chat. N-Rocks. Imanaga is a fly ball pitcher. He gives home runs. At Fenway Park, they might not necessarily translate to the home runs, right? However, I'm still proceeding with caution, though. It's something, I don't know. They got more data than we do. And listen, if it's Breslow and Bailey going after Imanaga, listen, I got to trust their judgment, man. They've been so good with pitching. And Breslow, that dude is so smart. I don't know how that guy's brain operates. You just listen to the guy talk. I'm not trying to be Draftnik Robbie here, but whatever. Go listen to the guy talk. Guy sounds, you're like, goodness gracious. Like he could teach you Microsoft. He'll talk about like using Microsoft Excel and telling you all about it for like 2 hours straight. Like that's exactly like what I see with Craig Breslow when I hear him talk. So the Red Sox, maybe I'm a little iffy with the Red Sox, but if it's a 4, fine. The Cubs, the Cubs need to do something. What are the Cubs doing? I mean, listen, they need pitching too. They need pitching. That would be another lefty. So you'd have 3 lefties there. But they need to do something at some point. I don't necessarily think they need him right now. But, could be something. The Angels are really interesting. I feel like, I don't know, it just feels weird. You already got 3 lefties in there. I don't know. It just feels odd to me. Maybe. No one saw them getting Ohtani. I'm not saying he's Ohtani, but I don't know. But the team that I think now they've got, you don't got Robbie Ray until later on, but I think Imanaga could make some sense for the Giants, right? Big ballpark there, right? A lot of space out there. Fly ball pitcher would work very well. I could definitely see a fit with the Giants, right? They definitely need some more depth, even, and obviously Ray, but he's not coming back till later. So for me, I would personally, I don't know, if I'm ranking it right now, I'd probably say in terms of where he ends up. And the Giants, they got money. They got more financial flexibility, right? So they could probably go that extra mile if they really wanted to. Who knows if the Robbie Ray move does anything to that? But we'll see. But hey, if the Red Sox get him and he's, and you put him, the one thing with the Red Sox right now is they don't have lefties. So that is one thing to think about. But you need a 1. I'm sorry. Lucas Giolito is not your number 1. I'm sorry. Bayo, for right now, opening day starter for the Red Sox, it's Brian Bayo. Don't even tell me. No Nick Pivetta. No, Giolito's not getting the ball on opening day. I'm sorry. I'm looking at this. I'm like, what? Why is Fangraphs putting Giolito as the 1? Bayo, if anything, is the 1. And that's even with numbers. I think Giolito, is going to be okay next year. But Bayo, I think, he's going to get the ball opening day if this is the rotation. If you got Imanaga, I would imagine Houck probably, or I don't know. I think you could go Houck or Crawford for a bullpen role. We'll see. I think Imanaga, he definitely bumps one of those guys out. I think people would probably say keep Crawford in the rotation. Lou Merlone, he's been on the Crawford closer train. He does do the short arm action like Keith Folk back in the day. Just saying, a lot of people think Hal could actually be the closer, especially if you move Jansen. So yeah, Imanaga would definitely have a home in here, but you're not done at that point. You need to go get a 1 for the rotation, and you're probably not going to get it in free agent. Well, who knows? Maybe you could. I think if they get Imanaga, I think that probably puts them out. I don't know. It's just weird. It's like, why would you? I don't know. I'm thinking about it. It's because, would you rather just spend an extra $6-7 million per year on Snell, or are you going to go 18-20 for Imanaga? I think with both, that's going to be a lot. If Imanaga gets 20 per year, which sounds like a lot, honestly, but Giolito got 20, right? So I think Imanaga, if you look at the numbers from Giolito, if Giolito could get right near 20. Imanaga, he put up good numbers in Japan, so I think he could definitely get 20. So if it's 20 for Imanaga and then, 26, 27 for Snell, that's a lot right there, right? Even if you do get rid of Kenley, Yoshida, right? That's still a lot, and you still got to go get a bat. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll see how this all goes. But, I don't know. Who knows where Imanaga goes? I would say my betting odds, for me personally, I'd probably say the Giants. But that probably means he's going to go to the Red Sox. But speaking of betting odds, sponsoring tonight's show is BetUS. I was actually on BetUS TV earlier today. We do a Friday show, everyone. We got 500 people in this chat. Come on out to BetUS TV, the YouTube channel. We're talking just whatever sports on Friday afternoons, right? So come check us out over there. But as for BetUS, a ton of different ways to play. You got Sportsbook, right? You got the casinos. You got the race books, right? They have promotions all the time, right? And obviously all the different sports that you want. Football, basketball, hockey. We got golf too. tennis, soccer, martial arts even. You can go crazy. Even horse racing, right? Boxing, table tennis, right? But let's go take a look at the baseball odds as of right now. And you can actually go make some bets here with baseball currently, even though there's no baseball going on. So right now they have some specials going on. We have some stuff with Judge, right? I'm guessing that's probably numbers for next year. Ohtani as well, and Soto. But they have here some free agent odds. And let's actually go take a look here. Blake Snell, Jordan Montgomery, Chapman, Bellinger. Let's see what the odds are for these guys. So right now, I don't know if they've updated this or not, but they're still giving the Giants the edge for Blake Snell. I don't know. It might not be updated, but who knows? Maybe check back tomorrow. We'll see. But the Red Sox are coming in right behind them. The Cubs right behind. The Angels right behind there. For Cody Bellinger, they're actually giving the edge to the Giants, and then the Yankees, Mariners, Padres. Giants, I don't know. Now, I think it's interesting. You did just bring back Robbie Ray's contract, but you also got rid of Haniger, right? And if we're actually taking a look here at the Giants, when it comes to the offense, right? Now Haniger's not there. So I wonder now if maybe you could go make a play for Cody Bellinger still. I still think you could find a way to get him in this lineup. So, but they have the Giants as the favorite. I don't know about the Yankees, honestly. I don't see the Yankees, personally. I would actually put the Padres ahead of the Yankees right now. For Jordan Montgomery, they're giving the edge to the Red Sox. If it's not, go back to the Rangers. And also for Bellinger, if it's not the Cubs. Sorry, I forgot to point that out. I think the Cubs right now are the favorites for Cody Bellinger. I would say the Giants are number 2. And then for Montgomery, I think the Rangers are the favorites right now, but the Red Sox are right behind the Yankees too. Matt Chapman, we haven't heard anything about Matt Chapman. Have not heard a thing. But they actually are going negative 110 for San Francisco. I think that makes a ton of sense. I've been raving about that idea for a long time now. I feel like I was one of the first people to actually say it. I feel like ever since I said it, everyone else started saying it. Like, that's when I started seeing, like, all these articles coming out. I'm like, I swear I was the first one to say it. Because everyone else in the beginning of the offseason, they were saying, like, oh, Cubs, Yankees. And I was like, is anyone saying the Giants? No one's saying the Giants. But anyway, I think the Giants are the favorites. Could he go back to the Blue Jays? I don't know about that. Probably not. So I'll go Giants. But anyway, go check out BetUS TV. The link is in the description down below. If you click on that, you get a 125% bonus when you sign up. But make sure, everyone, you play responsibly. Play responsibly. Everyone, I'm going to wrap it up for tonight. If you can, on the way out, our light goal tonight was 200. And we got to 269. You're all amazing. But we actually have a couple of super chats in here. And while I'm pulling those up, if you can, hit the like button, hit the bell, make sure the notifications are turned on, share the show, and subscribe if you are new. But let's get to some super chats here. Title info, $1.99. Need the Dodgers to go all in and trade for Randy. Hey, I think they could use an outfield bat. Could they come together again and make another trade? I feel like at this point, probably Arozarena stays. I remember seeing Arozarena's name coming up and thinking, it's like, why trade like your most marketable player now that you don't have Wander Franco? Listen, I know the Rays are all about, getting the players and whatnot. They're trying to just win with low payroll, but they got a marketing side of things too, right? Arozarena, this guy sells shirts, jerseys, bobbleheads, forks, knives, spoons, cups, you name it. Randy Arozarena, this is a guy you got to keep around for, in my opinion, just for the marketing side of things. Mets fan, $1.99. Is the other team the Mets? Just a yes or no. Maybe. Everyone, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to wrap this up. Everyone, thank you so much for stopping by tonight. I didn't expect this good of a turnout for a Friday night. Hey, always appreciate you stopping by so that way I get to see your happy faces in the chat. Everyone, thank you again. hey, if anything happens tomorrow, listen, we've had stuff happen on Saturdays, man. We had Chris Sale last Saturday. We had Ohtani one Saturday. Was Yamamoto on a Saturday? No, that was during the week. Who knows? Maybe something else happens this Saturday. If not, probably not going to go live. I do expect to post a video tomorrow. Do expect that, so be on the lookout for that. Go check out the video that I posted yesterday. And if I'm not back tomorrow live, I will be back Sunday night for regular programming. Everyone, have yourself a good rest of your Friday night. Have a good Saturday tomorrow if I don't see you, and I'll talk to you next time.